What's up, guys? So I figured I did that video on a Kinwall car and my workbench is somewhat cleaned. I would do another quick video. So I think I have a lot of these, but I think maybe 2 years ago, my Cornwell Tools guy, who's also into RC, came to the shop and he was just telling me that he was thinking about cleaning house of his RC10 stuff, and he had some Worlds Riri stuff. I said, well, you know, when you have a chance, dig it out and, you know, bring it with one day and we'll come up with a price for it. And so that's what we did. So he basically had a complete kit. There's a couple of the transmission was built. So I had to take that apart and clean it. And then I ended up having to dip into it for like a diff gear and something else. So I got to replace that. And then there was about enough parts to, or enough of another kit, maybe 60% of another kit. And then I had a bunch of parts, new and packaged parts that I put with it. So it's pretty close. Still needs like trans internals and some other stuff. I think the whole rear suspension kit was missing, and so no CVAs, no arm mounts, hubs. But I had all that kind of stuff. So a couple of hinge. There's still some stuff I got to find, and I don't even really even know what I want to do with the car yet. But the complete one, or the mainly complete one, that's going to be my vintage Nationals car for next year. So at some point, I'll get to building this. So I figured I'd just pop it open and kind of go through the stuff. And for anyone that hasn't seen a Worlds kit, so this is the parts for the maybe 70%. So there was no bodies, there was no wheels, but I had some new ones left over. The one thing I didn't like about these is the wheels are like these compared to like a J Concepts mono wheel. They're wider. So when you're trying to run, you know, like modern tires and stuff on it, they balloon more on these. So I typically don't like running them. There's a package with the arm mounts and the steering bell crank. Those awful screws that break by looking at them. Rear suspension kit. Now this is open, and I don't necessarily know why, but it looks like everything is in there. Anything that's not, I'll just replace. There's the hinge pins and stuff. Even the bearings are in there too, so that wasn't missing. You get the V2 shocks. This was the trans. Like I said, it was together. It was kind of dirty and stuff. Like the diff lube and stuff was like leaking out of it. Kind of messed up the slipper pads. I cleaned them up a little bit, but I'm probably gonna have to get new ones, which isn't a big deal. But yeah, I had to pull the diff gear out of this and something else. So a little bit of stuff has to get replaced on that. And a nose plate, front shock tower, rear bulkhead, body mount, wing tubes, Worlds brace, the front kit, the arms, got your blocks, knuckles, all that stuff, shock tower trans brace, guard box, 10 nose tubes, your steering belt, or your servo horns and servo blocks, springs, and the beautiful green ball cups. So those are obviously going to get replaced. I don't really like those new associated ones, like ABS, and they look like, and they're just, I don't know, I just don't like them. So I'm probably going to end up with the Fan RC ones. And the Worlds tub. So then in here, probably could have used a smaller bag. There's another tub. And there was some weird stuff taken out of this one, like just servo mounts and stuff. The springs. And I have, a bunch of open parts or open packages too that were, I needed the servo mounts for something else, but I didn't need the antenna mount. So, still got the antenna mount. The battery box is missing, so I have one of those. There's shock tower that came with, and a nose plate. Front one, front arm mounts. I think the front end kit was missing on this too. Yeah, there's the front arm mounts, some body mounts, new bulkhead, and there's the front. But I don't remember. I had to look back in the other one with where the arm mounts came, but they were missing. So the front end kit's still together. Like I said, the rear was missing, so that pieced the rear together. But the shocks were there, which was cool. New set of arms. And I wanted to use all re-release stuff, so it's like if I wanted to put it back to an actual re-release Worlds car, all the parts were from, supposed to be on it. So arm mounts. The battery brace. Those tubes. Oh, there's servo owners. And this is about, there's a piston there. And so this is all I have of the trans. Pretty much missing the full diff gear, the whole thing. There's well the T-nut and spring and stuff is there, but yeah, top shaft, the slipper, the idler, all that stuff is gone. It might even be cheaper to just get like a Fan RC trans or something to put in here, or maybe not, but we'll see. I think that's it. So yeah, so I don't totally know what I'm going to do with this one. It may never get built. I might just keep it for parts, but I'm sure I'll do something with it. I've kind of, in a way, moved on from the RC10, like the tub stuff, and I'm just kind of more into the B2, B3 stuff, especially on the racing side of it. So unless I can think of, like, I already know what this one's going to be. It's going to be another, like, kind of modernized replica like I typically do. And I'm going to be getting started on that one pretty soon. This one, I don't know. I had a couple ideas of what I wanted to do with it. I kind of don't want the milled tub. And I do have a gold tub, like the classic gold tub, but I don't have a motor plate and nose plate from that. And I do have a complete classic chassis that I stripped and had re-anodized black. So it has the full nose plate in the back. It doesn't have like the Worlds cut and stuff. So I don't, and the build I had in mind, it would kind of require me to cut that, and I don't really want to do it. Well, I guess I could use this one. But but there is a slight difference in the ano. So I don't really want to mix and match chassis parts from this and that. I'd rather just use that whole chassis and the tub, the nose, and the motor plate. But I really don't want to cut the nose up. So, but we'll see. You never know what kind of stuff shows up and what you can get your hands on and how it can change the direction of a build. So yeah, that's about it. I just figured I'd kind of get this started. Maybe I'll do like a kind of an episode based kind of deal with this one, so everyone can kind of follow along with the build. But I do not build shit quick, and I have a whole year and a half to get that car done. So I typically will probably use every minute of that time, but hopefully not. So, all right, see you guys in the next one.